Hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with Crank and with that metal station. And today I'm getting to have a chat with Reuben Stone from Stormtide, who recently released their second album, A Throne of Hollow Fire, 1st of March through Metal Hell Records. Reuben, thank you very much for joining me, man.
G'day everyone, this is Reuben.
It's a fucking cracking album, Reuben. First off, man, how would you describe the sound of Stormtide, man?
Well, it's funny, we've been asked that since the start of the band, which was quite a while ago now. And we started off being a bit more folky orientated, but I guess more of late we've sort of, with a bit more influence with the other guys in the band, gone more for the symphonic death metal meets Lord of the Rings meets
melodic death.
I don't know,
it's got that mellow death.
Pub, you know?
Yeah, it's got a great sound, dude. I love it. It kind of does have a little bit of what you said, that folk and the symphonic, and with that melodic death, man. I'm a huge fan of melodic death metal, and it's the scene here in Australia is so good and healthy that when I come across bands like yourself, that I've got to go back and check out your previous releases as well. And I always think I'm like up to date with the Australian metal, and then I hear albums like this that just blow me out of the water. I go, where the fuck have I been?
Yeah, well, that doesn't help. We hadn't released anything for about 5 years, but no, you're quite right. It's a very healthy scene.
I think 2016 was the debut album, Wrath of an Empire, which was fairly well received. Can you tell me a little bit about the process of making this one? Was this one a lot easier making this one, or harder than the first one?
So in a lot of ways, it was harder. Yeah. We had a bit of member attrition along the way, so we lost a few really good members who were integral to the sound of Wrath. We were really fortunate to get some new guys in, which is Dean on drums and Dan on guitars, which was great. But yeah, look, the process for writing is me and Tyson would kind of create the bones of the album, so to speak. We'd figure out the vision of it, and then the other two guys would come in and just add their bits, make it a bit more technical. For that 5 years between albums, a lot of that was actually us just writing, rewriting. I reckon there must be at least 2 or 3 albums on the cutting room floor from what we actually recorded.
Yeah, wow. So it was a long process making the album and that as well, I suppose. But I suppose after 2016, losing those couple of members and rejoining, you kind of got to work together. But they'd also bring in different, like you're saying, they'd bring in different ideas as well for A Throne of Hollow Fire that would kind of give this album a little bit more of their own style as well.
Oh, absolutely. Look, Dan, he also plays for the band Anatomy, which is a fantastic Aussie, band that's been around for ages. So he was really instrumental in making it just heavier,
Yep.
and then Dean on drums, he before he joined Stormtide was mostly in grindcore sort of stuff. So having him on the drums is definitely an asset.
Yeah, you get more of that blast beaty stuff. You know what I mean? Blast beats, slam it down.
That's it.
Yeah, dude, grindcore. That's another great scene in Australia that's ripping it at the moment too. Some amazing grindcore bands coming out of here. What was the songwriting process like for this album? Like lyric-wise, yeah.
Well, lyric-wise, a bit of a change because I actually jumped on vocals for the first time. Yeah. So historically, I'd just been doing the orchestrals. I wrote some of the lyrics, probably about half and half. But so this time it was just me doing vocals. So I had to think, oh, well, how the hell do you write lyrics? so I reckon it was 70% was done about 4 years over that sort of time span of writing, rewriting. It's a concept album, so it's a big story. But I reckon the best parts were actually when I was sitting there with Chris Demilco from Monolith Studios recording the damn thing.
Yeah.
And I'd look at my lyrics and go, nah, that's crap. And then just write something new on the spot. And that was, I reckon, when the real magic happened.
Chris Demilco, his name pops up all the time in the music scene, especially in the heavy side of things. He's from Orpheus Omegas, but the work he does as well on the production side of things is, I know, a bit underappreciated in Australia. The work he does is unreal, and you've worked with him. It'd be an unreal process working with Chris as well. He's a very smart musical person.
Oh, absolutely. And he he's just instrumental in making sure that we could realize what vision we sort of had with the you know, especially the editing and mixing process, because we got bloody, you know, 70, 80 odd orchestral tracks to mix. You know, you can't just give it to anyone and be like, yep, here you go.
What's that like coming in with all those, the orchestration side of things? That would take a fair bit of effort as well to add all that in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the writing side, for sure. I mean, that's why it took so long, because you're not just writing for, okay, this is keyboard part 1, this is keyboard part 2. It's okay, so this one violin is going to do this, the next violin's going to do this, and then by the end of it, you got maybe 40, 50 odd instruments all doing something similar but slightly different. So you're writing for many, many parts at once.
Yeah, it created a great sound for me. It's just one of those albums I put in. I had the promo sent over, and I had to go buy it as well off of Bandcamp. Grab your first one, and just been sitting back cranking the hell out of you guys, man. Can you tell me a little bit about the concept for this album?
Sure. So it's sort of a continuation of the story that we sort of started to weave in Wrath of an Empire. So it's part of almost like a trilogy that we have in mind. In this album, sort of, you know, starts off with every good fantasy archetype, a warrior. So the gods themselves have all disappeared, which has left the sort of the throne of fire, which is like the godly throne, is empty. And so there's this demon warlord king sort of being who's like, wow, shit, that sounds pretty good. I'd like that. So he wants to sit atop the throne of fire, thus making it the throne of hollow fire. But we, as the adventurous Dungeons and Dragons style crew, want to put a stop to those plans. And in doing so, we come across given that all the gods have disappeared, our only option is a demigoddess, who is she would name the stars. And it's our journey from there is, all right, how do we get her to be the one who takes the throne itself? And then it just, you know, proceeds epically from there.
Yeah, and you kind of have that middle, I suppose, one last pint's kind of one last drink before as well, and getting it down as well before the battle.
That's exactly it. We've actually, because we read all the reviews, because it's always interesting what people say, and some people really love the placement of one last pint in the middle of the album. Yeah, because it sort of breaks it up, and it's meant to be last drink before we really get into it. But some people think it breaks the momentum. It's just really interesting to see what people sort of feel about that.
I like the track. As you said, it broke it up nicely, and it sits nicely. As you said, the telling of the story of it sits well, and you're the one who knows the story better than anyone. So screw what the reviewers think. I fucking can't stand half of the reviewers these days. They're going to hate me. They'll probably put in a review about that as well. Go, fuck Chinese anti-reviewers.
That's right. You judge yourself by the people who write about you, I think.
Yeah, just the negative reviewers. I can't stand reading some of these negative reviewers, man. It just they seem to just live off breaking bands down for no reason other than they're sad individuals.
Yeah, and look, and we've actually been quite fortunate. I'm yet to read, and don't quote me on this because chances are tomorrow something will come out. But I'm yet to read anything that you know, we sort of disagree with or that we think's a bit harsh. You know, it's all been pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, and I like jumping over. As I mentioned, I'm a big supporter of buying music. So I suppose the best place for people to grab music off of you guys is through the Metal Hell Records off of Bandcamp. There, you can head over there. And the good thing about buying Bandcamp, you know, most of the money's going to the bands, especially on the Bandcamp Fridays. But you know you're supporting a scene as well, whereas Spotify, you're not really doing as much on that kind of things, you know. And what I like doing is jumping on Bandcamp as well and seeing people actually buying. Like, there's been a whole heap of people that have bought this album off you guys over on Bandcamp. There's been a ton of nice comments, which is really cool to see as well.
Yeah, look, absolutely. We're really appreciative. We're actually kind of blown away, to be honest. how many sales have sort of got, like pre-orders even, given that the physical ones haven't even been pressed yet. I don't think they're still in the pre-order phase. We've just been blown away. And look, you know, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, all that sort of stuff. But if you buy it, that definitely makes us happy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, go listen on Spotify. You like it, go buy it. And with you can buy it digitally anyway, and you've got it on your phone for those people who like to walk around with their phones playing music all the time. You can do it that way, and you can also do it solid in the fact that you've supported the band. Playing live. Have you had any news about playing live? Are you going to be getting on there? I know fucking things are changing, but yeah.
So we've just been very fortunate to sign with Black Ruse, and they're a phenomenal Aussie-based. They do publicity and bookings. So we just signed with them for our booking agent. So absolutely, we are looking to come back onto the scene with a intensity that we haven't sort of had before. I think we've really got a new vision and a new live show. Obviously, Europe, when that opens up, we'll be over there and that sort of stuff. But definitely Australia and New Zealand during our sites.
That'll be really good. I'll be hoping to catch you guys sometime. Hopefully down Adelaide would be really nice as well. But Europe, this will get chewed up in Europe. They'll love it over in Europe for sure. It's really good when I see Aussie bands getting over to Europe and playing over there as well. It must be exciting for you guys. I was chatting to who was I chatting to? Stepson the other week, and they're off to Europe as well. It must be good thinking, going, oh yeah, I can play over in Europe eventually.
Well, that's it. We had our first European tour booked for last year, but I don't know if you heard in the news, but there's something going on. I don't know, some virus or something. I don't know. But that kind of put a damper on that. But you know,
yeah, at least we can get a couple of live shows happening here as well. You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. So we're pumped.
Awesome. I'm going to let you get about the rest of your day at work, Reuben. This has been an absolute pleasure. Last words, shout outs, thank yous, anything you may have forgotten, and a track you want to leave us with.
Thanks, Mum, for giving birth to me. No.
Hey, thanks, Mum. Thanks, Reuben's mum. No, seriously.
Yeah, she's pretty tops. No, just thank you to everyone who's listened to the album and who will listen to it in the future. It really, we are blown away by the response that we've received, and we're kind of surprised. So thanks very much. I reckon the song to leave would be She Would Name the Stars. Is probably my personal favorite, so why not that one?
Awesome. Reuben, this has been an absolute pleasure. Everyone grab the Stormtide album, A Throne of Hollow Fires. Came out 1st of March through Metal Hell Records. You're going to want to put it in your stereo and turn it up really loud, because as always, the neighbours are going to want to hear this too. Cheers, mate.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.